Ever think about what happens if an AI designed to save lives actually ends up causing harm? Yeah, it's a pretty terrifying thought. And that's exactly why we're here today. We're going to dive into the super high-stakes world of AI risk assessment. Think of it like a pre-flight checklist that the pros use to stop digital disasters before they even take off.
You know, we hear all the time about this amazing future with AI-driven cars and medical diagnoses that save lives. But let's get real for a second. What happens when that car's AI messes up a turn, or the super smart diagnostic tool just misses something critical on a scan? That right there is the question that probably keeps a lot of AI developers staring at the ceiling at night.
See, in the world of AI, a bug isn't just some harmless little glitch on your screen. No way. In a self-driving car, that bug could be a literal life-or-death decision. And in a hospital, it could be the thin line between a spot-on diagnosis and a really tragic mistake. The consequences are so real, and they happen in an instant.
And hey, the dangers aren't just physical. The folks building this stuff are also super worried about AI making flat-out unfair decisions. So, for example, imagine an AI trained on old hiring data. It might just learn to filter out perfectly qualified people from certain backgrounds, you know? And this isn't some sci-fi movie plot. This is a real, documented risk. It can take the biases we already have and just put them on steroids.
Then you've got the companies building this tech. For them, a single slip-up can be like a total disaster. I'm not just talking about a bad press day. We're talking stock prices crashing, regulators showing up with some serious questions, and a reputation that took years to build getting completely shattered just like that.
Okay, so how do we actually stop these AI disasters from happening? Well, the answer is a really tough, systematic risk assessment. We've been calling it a pre-flight checklist for AI. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to walk you through it, piece by piece. So here's our flight plan.
All right, first up on the checklist, the technical and security inspection. Basically, we're asking, is this thing built on solid ground? Or are there some hidden cracks in the code just waiting to cause a massive failure?
So the very first step here is to kind of play detective. The experts try to think of every single way the AI could possibly fail. And we're not just talking about the code itself. It's about the data it's eating, the hardware it's living on, and even what happens when a person, a human, puts a little too much trust in a system that's making a mistake.
And this right here, this is a perfect picture of the domino effect in AI failures. I mean, just look at it. It all kicks off with one tiny little problem in step one, say some bad data gets in. But then watch what happens. That one little error just cascades down the line. It teaches the model the wrong stuff in step 2, which leads to bad predictions in step 3, and boom, you've got a real-world disaster in step 4. It's a chain reaction.
You know, securing these systems, it takes a totally new way of thinking. Here's a good way to picture it. Traditional IT security is like building a giant fortress to protect a castle. But AI security? That's like protecting the mind of the king who's inside that castle. It's not enough to just keep bad guys out. You've got to make sure the king's decisions are solid and that nobody is whispering poison in his ear.
And this new world brings all sorts of new threats. Like you've got adversarial attacks. This is wild. It's where someone can trick an AI into seeing something that just isn't there. Think about changing just a few pixels on a stop sign, and suddenly the AI is 100% sure it's a speed limit sign. Or data poisoning, where someone sneakily feeds the AI bad or biased data, and it slowly rots the whole system's decision-making from the inside out.
Okay, but here's the thing. You could have a technically perfect AI, totally secure, and it could still be an ethical nightmare. And that's why the very next stop on our pre-flight check is the ethical minefield. This is where we have to tackle the really tough questions about fairness, transparency, and all those unintended side effects.
And this quote, man, it just nails it. And AI is basically a mirror. It reflects the data we feed it, all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So if our data comes from a biased world, guess what? The AI is going to learn those biases. And the truly scary part, it can then apply them with machine-like speed and ruthless efficiency.
So what does an ethical checkup even look like? Well, it's really about asking the hard questions. Like, is this AI actually fair to everybody? Or is it playing favorites? When it makes a huge decision, can we explain why? Or is it just some mysterious black box? And maybe most importantly, have we really thought about how someone could take this powerful tool and use it to do some serious harm?
And the risks don't just stop there with the tech and the ethics. Nope, a rogue AI can absolutely bring a whole company to its knees. Which brings us to the next part of our checklist. We're talking business and reputational survival.
I mean, just take a look at these examples. A biased algorithm gets outed to the public?
That's not just an internal headache, that's a full-blown PR nightmare with lawsuits to match. Or what about a financial model that starts to fail because of something called model drift? That's when it just gets less accurate over time. That can wipe out millions of dollars in minutes. The connection between an AI failure and a business disaster, it's crystal clear.
And get this. This might surprise you. Some experts estimate that a huge chunk of the damage from an AI failure isn't even from the tech itself. It's from people. We're talking about employees who just refuse to use a system they don't trust. And customers, they'll walk away from a brand in a heartbeat if they feel like they've been betrayed.
Okay, so we've laid out all the risks. We've seen how they can cause chaos technically, ethically, and for a business. So now we get to the most important part. What on earth do we do about all this? How do we actually build an AI that's not just smart, but also tough, resilient, and worthy of our trust?
And this is key. It's not about running around putting out fires after they've started. It's about fireproofing the whole building before anyone even moves in. That's what risk mitigation is all about. It's a proactive plan to build a resilient AI with safeguards and checks baked into every single step, from the first sketch on a napkin all the way to when it's retired. A really solid plan here is built on 5 main pillars. First, you need fail-safes and a human in the loop, right? Someone who can step in when the stakes are high. Second, you need tough-as-nails security to fight off those attacks we just talked about. Third, you've got to have clear ethical guardrails to keep things fair. Fourth, you absolutely need a contingency plan, a plan B, for when things inevitably go sideways. And finally, you have to be constantly monitoring, keeping a close eye on how the AI is doing long after it's out in the world.
So at the end of the day, building trustworthy AI, it isn't a leap of faith. It's an act of careful, deliberate engineering. It's about meticulously putting together systems that aren't just intelligent, but are also safe, fair, and accountable. So as we're all standing here on the edge of this incredible AI-powered future, the big question we all have to ask ourselves is, are we actually performing our pre-flight checks, or are we just hoping for the best and flying blind?